I'd like to talk about repairing a concrete bench. As new homeowners, and we didn't know any better, bought this beautiful concrete bench that had tile on top of it. Didn't know was this type of bench has a very limited lifespan if you use it outdoors. The bench eventually started to fall apart. The tiles started popping off, and the concrete started flaking away. First, we decided to try to save it by using epoxy. But if you've looked at the price of epoxy lately, that started to get to be a pretty expensive venture. So, we decided to replace the bench portion of it. The legs were still perfectly fine. Since we happened to have a couple dozen extra 4x4s laying around from a fence we tore apart, we decided to go with a 4x4 bench. The first step, cut your 4x4s to the size of the bench you want. Let your trusty little helper Pooch check out the quality of the glue that you're going to use. Yes, the cap is still on the glue. For the top side of the bench, the part you sit on, pick the best side of the 4x4. Here, I'm using something called Gorilla Glue. This is awesome stuff. It's actually activated by moisture. Glue up all 4 boards. This time we keep the trusty Pooch away from the glue, or try to. Spread the glue out, then break out your clamps. Here's an old saying in the wood shop, you can't ever have too many clamps. After the glue is dried, take a belt sander and clean up the entire board, top, bottom, and sides. Something I had forgotten about was if you're using a belt sander a lot, you have to give it time to cool down. The belt got so hot that the glue that holds the belt together just separated. Now I had to buy a new belt. Okay, we're back in business. Let's go. Next, I want to get rid of all the sharp edges so that you don't hurt yourself as you're sitting on it. A router with a roundover bit performs this job admirably. With the bench built, let's move on to the legs. We've already thrown away the concrete bench, but when they built these legs, they did a horrible job on these metal posts that hold the bench in place. They're different lengths. That's a problem that's easily fixed with a metal cutoff wheel. Now we have to drill 2 holes into the bench for those mounting posts. I found an adjustable carpenter square is good for getting things evened up. Now that the bench is in place, crawl underneath and mark where the posts contact the bench. This is where your holes will go. This step is pretty darned important and has caused me a lot of grief before I learned it. When you're doing custom work like this, always mark the orientation of the parts so you know how they go back together. To drill the hole, I'm using a Forstner bit. These holes are pretty freaking awesome for drilling in large diameter holes. Okay, time for a fit check. And an operational check. It looks like I fit on it. And this bench is dual-sided. You can sit on either side. Now let's address the problem with these legs. These open tops will collect water, and then water freezes, and then it'll bust the legs open. A wee bit of mortar will easily fix this problem. I don't have video of it, but we also threw a layer of waterproof paint on top of the mortar. Finally, we picked a couple of different colors, an outdoor preservative stain that we liked, and covered the entire bench. There we have it, a fully operational bench. And a new rule in our house, never buy anything made out of concrete that has tile embedded in it. Well, thanks for watching.